With new gone, who is the new best deck? Hello and welcome to the table, and today I'm doing a Flesh and Blood hero tier list. It's been a minute, but here we are, and I got the tiers here. I got Almost LL with Azalea. I think that's the hero that's most likely going to be hitting LL soon. There is Dash, who is close. There is ones that are semi-close, like 5, but I think Azalea is the one who's most likely to hit LL fairly soon. So I got that tier for Azalea. Then I got D tier for kind of the more pet decks of the meta. Think of my deck, my favorite deck, Boltyn. Then I got some C tier casual casual decks. Just some solid decks, not the best decks in the game, but like good casual armory decks. Then there's B tier for competitive decks, some of the better upper echelon of decks where it starts to get like, you still see them in armories quite a bit, and you can see them at a like big event here and there. They're pretty competitive. They're not the most competitive, but they're up there. Then I got A tier for the top contenders for the decks that like are gonna generally win the armories. If the pilot's good, you're gonna see them at big events quite often, and they're just gonna be up there as some of the best decks in the game, some top contenders. Then I got S tier. I got Bob, which is what I like to call it, the best of the best tier. The heroes who are just absolutely the best, who do the most work, who do the most things, and are just going to just deal the most damage and win the most. So, let's get into it. Starting off with Welgun Wraith heroes in Dorinthea Ironson. I love Dorinthea. She's fun, she's cool, she's one of the better warriors in my opinion, and she's a good casual deck. I don't think she really deserves to be any higher than that. I don't think she's a pet deck because you still need to know how to play against her. She can still do quite a few good and powerful things if you set her up properly. But she's not competitive. So I think she's a good solid casual tier. Then I got Rhinar, who, pretty good. Rhinar's a pretty good deck. Is he like the absolute best deck in the game? No. But I still think he deserves a good place in casual tier. Like, because of the fact that he has Blood Rush Bellows, he's got interaction stapled onto his own hero effect, I think just makes him a good solid deck. Just solid plus. Like Dory, he's got a fridge of an equipment suite, so that helps him out. So he's hard to kill in a sense. He's got interaction, and he's got some good stuff in his pocket. So he's a good casual deck. Then I got Bravo. Bravo, you know, back in the, like, last year, he'd be here. But because of the armory or mastery class, mastery packs for, for Guardians, I feel like, quite honestly, he should get knocked up to casual tier. And I don't think he's going to be competitive, but because of the fact he's got Dominate, he's got some of the largest he's got one of the largest card pools in the game. I think he's a good casual deck. He's a very, very solid casual deck. And he can do quite a bit of work. I think he's up there as one of the better casual decks out there now with the Mastery class, or the Mastery packs coming out soon. So I just feel like, yeah, he's a very solid deck. Plus some of the worst matchups that he has. I mean, they're up there as some of the best decks, but there isn't a ton of them. He doesn't have like a ton of matchups where he just auto loses. And he does, but he doesn't. He doesn't have as many as he used to. Let's go with that. But then, I got Katsu. Who is this guy? Nobody knows Katsu anymore because Katsu, basically Zen came around, got rid of all of Katsu's best cards. Sure, he's got the red, Gust Wave or whatever it's called. But it's just like, he still doesn't have the tools. He's got so many expansion slot cards, and he still just does not have what he needs. He's not great. He's not even like a good casual deck. He's just kind of a pet deck because he just doesn't do enough. Back in the day, he was a very fun deck, but now he's just kind of sitting around. Plus, Artivore, the fact that that card got banned, that did not do Katsu any good. That was kind of his Blood Rush Bellows, if you will. But yeah, Katsu, kind of in the dumpster right now. But then, getting into Arcane Rising, there isn't a lot of Arcane Rising decks left because, I mean, sure, there are still technically 3 of the 4, but I don't really count Azalea because she's gonna be gone. Maybe by the time this video comes up, I doubt it. But, like, she'll be gone pretty soon. She's gonna be gone very, very soon. But Dash is the first hero that I got that I think, like, Dash is not gonna go away just yet, but she's still good. She's still a good casual deck. I think she slots in between Dory and Rhinar. I think she's a little bit better than Rhinar just because of the amount of, like, sets. Like, I think that Mechanologists just get more support than Brutes. There's been more sets that support mechs than sets that support brutes. There's been more cards in the expansion slot that just so happen to lean Dash's way, whereas that just hasn't been the case as much with Rhinar. He's gotten some good stuff from sets like Heavy Hitters, and from some expansion slots here and there. Like, I believe it was the Hunted expansion slot. He got that card that was basically a Rhinar specialization that just says, when this attacks, intimidate, or something like that. But still, very good casual deck, especially with some support from High Seas, you know, the COG strategy. It's just like, there's an infinite number of ways that you can build Dash, and I just feel like there's a couple of cards that are probably going to slot into her deck thanks to High Seas, and I think she's a good, solid, casual deck. But then there's Kano. And Kano, I hate Kano so much. He is a top contender. Kano is just one of those decks that just, like, he's a glass cannon, but he's a good glass cannon. Like, the book banning did not do Kano any good. But that still doesn't mean that he's dead in the water. He still has a ton of tools. He still has a ton of things that make him a really powerful deck and can allow him to just overwhelm people. He's just very, very solid. He's got a lot of ways to just end the game in one turn. And yeah, because of that, I mean, he's got to be up there as a top contender. Plus, you know, Rosetta, the whole Arcane set, Arcane-only set, I mean, that also helped Kano. Like a lot of Arcane damage-dealing decks, like Vynnset, which I'll get to later. But, like, there's a lot of decks that got quite a bit better thanks to Rosetta. Even though the book banning did hurt Kano, I feel like because of the stuff that he's just always had and the stuff from Rosetta, I think putting that together makes Kano definitely a top contender. But then, I got Monarch, my favorite set, one of my favorite sets of all time. And the first one I got, the first deck that I got is Boltyn. Sir Boltyn. This guy actually got some upgrades fairly recently in High Seas, and I think, quite honestly, he is still trash, but he deserves the top of pet deck. He will be the king of the pet decks. Because, quite honestly, Nimblism is a pretty good card in Boltyn. It gets stuff above their base power. Plus, you know, it just allows you to, like, get some more on-rate stuff, especially with the Jack be quick, Jack be nimble, and then the Nimby. And, like, there's a lot of ways now to make Boltyn kind of a little bit more on rate and deal like a decent amount of damage. In addition, you know, you still got Raiden to kind of help even things out when you don't draw the whole Nimby stuff, the Nimby package of the deck. But still, Boltyn, I quite honestly think, got some upgrades in High Seas, and I think because of that, he deserves a place at the top of D tier. He's still not a casual deck, in my mind, like he's not that good, but he still deserves a pretty high spot in D tier. Which is sad, because I love Boltyn, but that's as high as I'll let him be. But then there's Levia, who is just below Boltyn. Levia's good. Don't get me wrong. She can be one of the most powerful decks in the game because of just the amount of damage that she can put out with the Blood Rush Bellows, with her combo cards, with her above-rate attacks if they work right. It's just like, she can have some really powerful turns and deal a ton of damage. But she is one of the most high-rolly decks in the entirety of the game's history, plus she kind of kills herself. Like, a lot. And, I mean, when she works, like, really well. But when she doesn't, is kind of like Boltyn. Before the Nimby package, it was just kind of sitting around, just kind of doing stuff, just throwing, like, it's just like a punch here, a punch there, just kind of doing a couple of things here and there, and then and it's just kind of waiting, sitting around, waiting for, like, the Blood Rush Bellow turns or that kind of stuff. But, you know, either it's those games or, like, let's go, I rolled a 6 on my beaten trackers or whatever it's called. All right, I'm coming in with this. I'm coming in with a Mandible Claw for 5, a Blood Rush Bellow, I Blood Rush Bellow, I Blood Rush Bellow, I do this, I do that, I deal 26 damage to you in a single turn. Let's go. It's either that or the other thing. So it's just like, it's high rolly. But then there's Fi. Fi is actually a pretty good deck. Is he in competitive tier? No. But he is a good casual deck. I believe he is a good casual deck. And Fi, for that reason, he's got cards from, Uprising. He got some support. He did in, Hunted. He got some support there. Plus, he's a ninja deck. Anytime ninja cards come out, he's always going to get a little bit better because, ninja cards, they're just trying to make them good. They're trying to make ninjas good. And, Fi, he's got some good tools. He's got a lot of good cards. Sure, the fact that Art of War is gone did not help him either. He's not, good. Great. He's not great. He's good. But he's not as bad as Katsu. So, for that reason, I think he's a good, solid, casual deck. But then, getting past Uprising and into, whatever it is, Dynasty, I got Arakni Huntsman. And this guy, he is a pet deck. He has been a pet deck since he came out, and he is still a pet deck. I get that Assassins have a lot of very powerful cards. They got Codex of Frailty, they got Leave No Witnesses, they got Surgical Extraction, they got all the stupid reactions, all the disruption in the world, and then some. But that does not make Arakni Huntsman any good, in my mind. He can still put out some work here and there, he can still do some things, but he just doesn't do enough. He's a fatigue deck. Which, oh, by the way, if you're a fatigue deck, I don't respect you. I will not, be biased to, say, okay, you should be a casual deck, but I'm actually going to put you in a pet deck tier. No. I will still, respect, where your placement is, but I will not respect you as a deck. So, the person, if you're playing Arakni Huntsman as a person, I respect you. You're a good person, maybe. But, I don't respect your deck. So, there you go. Arakni Huntsman, he's not a great deck. He just isn't. He doesn't have the cards that he needs to be good. He doesn't have Go Again, essentially. He just doesn't have Go Again. But then I got Riptide, and Riptide, Riptide's got some good stuff going for him, kind of. But he's still a casual deck. The red line Riptide build, and you got some good traps for defense in there when you need it. You can deal a couple of bits of extra damage when you defend. That's nice and all. When you play a card from anywhere outside of the arsenal, you just load something. I mean, there's a lot of good things going on for Riptide, and he's been getting quite a bit of support through the expansion slots because pretty much every single expansion slot ever has been Riptide support. Somewhere in there, there's been a card for Riptide. But I just feel like even with all of that, he's still a solid casual deck. He just doesn't have the tools that make him an Azalea level good deck. Because I think, if Azalea were on here, she'd be in competitive tier. But she wouldn't be in casual tier like Rhinar, because Riptide, because Riptide just doesn't have the things that Azalea does. Because Azalea, she can dominate her arrows. Riptide just kind of sits around, he kind of piddles around with his traps here and there, just kind of unexpectedly blowing the opponent out of water here and there in some scenarios, but then also, he's also trying to be very aggressive, so I just feel like it's kind of wishy-washy. He's good, he's not great. So, I think he's a good casual deck, though. But then I got Uzuri, who's right behind Riptide. The thing is, I just don't think that Uzuri's good. Got some good stuff. Assassins, because you're in the assassin class, you got Codex of Frailty, you got all the cards I listed earlier. All those stupid cards. Plus, in addition, you have ways to cheat out, Command and Conquer, Enlighten Strike, Ravenous Rabble without having to reveal, just a 0 for 5 go again, out of nowhere. You got a lot of ways to just play some really good generics for free. And sometimes above rate what they normally would be. So, because of that, I think that makes Uzuri a solid deck, a very good casual deck, but not a competitive deck. Because other assassins can also run those kind of tools, and sure, they're not going to be free in the sense that Uzuri can allow them to be, but still, I think that there are decks that basically can do and have the cards that Uzuri has and just make better use of them. When Uzuri first came out, I would say Uzuri was like competitive, was a good competitive deck, could do a lot of good things, but because just the game has evolved and there's been a lot of very powerful decks that have come out over the past couple of years, I feel like Uzuri deserves a place in casual tier instead of competitive. But then getting to Dusk Till Dawn, this is where things start to ramp up. Like, there's still a couple of, like, down spots, but, like, this is where you're gonna see the top 3 tiers really start to get filled up quick. And the first card that's gonna fill up one of those tiers is Vynnset. Vynnset, basically, Rosetta was the juice that made Vynnset so much better than she used to be. Vynnset, the last time I did a tier list video for all the heroes, she was down here. She was down here in pet decks. But now, she's up in competitive. Why is she better than all of this decks? Rosetta. Rosetta did so much good for Vynnset. Just allowed so many ways to just make a ton of rune chants out of freaking nowhere. And then just allowed a rune gate to, like, just play a rune gate card. And then, who knows, maybe disrupt a little. Because you got Succumb to Temptations or whatever that card's called. Like, Rosetta did so much work for Vynnset more than any other hero in the game. It's not even funny. It kind of is. But it's like, Vynnset is a very, very powerful deck. Now, is she up in the top contenders and best of the best tiers? No, but she's a very powerful competitive deck. She's up there in probably like close to the top 10. Decks, in my opinion. Like, she's not top 10, but she's like top 12. So there you go. But then I got Prism. Prism! See, I don't like Kano, but I really, really don't like Prism. But she still deserves a spot in best of the best. So, why is that? Prism is oppressive. Prism has all the tools that made the original Prism a very good deck. Now, granted, she is still worse in ways than the last Prism was, but that does not make this Prism a bad deck. This Prism, Awakener of Soul, is a very, 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 very annoying deck to play against. You got the Arclight Sentinel, you got all those dumb Figments, you got those Heralds coming in for a dumb amount of damage, and then you just like, and it hits, and it hits, and it hits, and you gotta block all this stuff, and you gotta soak up all the damage, and you just gotta play a game. You gotta play the Prism game. And I don't like playing the Prism game. Playing the Prism game is not a fun game, in my mind. And Prism just warps the game, and is just, not like in a terrible way, but warps the game around to where you got to play her game. Not the normal game, but her game. And because of that, I think that she just deserves a place in best of the best. Like, she's not breaking the game, but she is definitely up there as one of the best decks in the entire game. So, S tier. Then I got all the disappointments from, well, okay, they're not all disappointments, but a lot of disappointments from Bright Lights. The first one, not a disappointment, Dio, competitive. If it'll load. But Dio, very, very good deck, very powerful deck, just item, boom grenade, and boost, Maxx V. It's just, sure, you got, what's the name of the card that got banned, the thing that gave you all the action points. Sure, whenever you boost, you get an action point this turn or something like that. But sure, that really hurt Dio, but I still feel like she's a very good competitive deck. I would say of all the mechanologists out there, she is up there as one of the best, close to the best mechanologist out there, just because of the amount of action point manipulation and just pure stupidity that this deck can create. But that is not the case for Maxx and Teklovossen. Maxx is up there. Probably the worst mechanologist in the game's history. Just a little bit bad at a pet deck tier. Got a little bit ahead of Arakni. Just a couple of points ahead of Arakni. But still, like, Maxx, not a great deck. It's just really not that good of a deck. Quite honestly. But, I mean, Maxx got an armory deck, but it's just everything is centered around that dumb Construct Nitro Mechanoid. And while that card is powerful, the top end and the stupid things that a lot of other decks can do, like in the competitive top contenders and best of the best tiers in BA and S tier, just do so much more than Maxx. And can make the game just kind of warp around that player a lot more than Maxx's top end can. So it's just like, I just don't think he's very good, because it takes a lot of effort to do the whole Construct Nitro Mechanoid thing, and when you finally do it, it's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not as good as the top end of a lot of other decks. So it's a pet deck. Unlike Teklovossen, surprisingly, the last time I did a Teklovossen ranking, the last time I ranked Teklovossen, I put him in pet deck tier as well, behind Maxx. But now, he's ahead of Maxx. Pretty much at the bottom of casual tier. At the bottom of casual tier, in my opinion. But still, Teklovossen is actually a solid deck in senses. It's like just above pet deck tier, to where I think that he deserves, like, honestly, I might put Boltyn up at the bottom of casual tier, because, like, they're close. Boltyn and Teklovossen, weirdly, are two, like, decks that could probably play really well against each other. Just a weird side note. But Teklovossen is actually a solid deck. It's a fatigue deck, yes. And I do not like fatigue decks, but I gotta give credit where credit is due, because Teklovossen, his end game is one of the most powerful in the game. When it works, it is really hard to beat him. Really, really, really hard to beat him. And because of that, Teklovossen, he can stall out the game pretty well. Is he, like, a good casual deck? Not really. I would say he's probably the worst casual deck in the game. But he still can do things that just are really hard to stop. And are really, like, annoying. And just, like, make him a good casual deck. His top end alone, like the fatigue end game dumbness that Teklovossen does, I think deserves that he get place here at the bottom of C tier. But then I got heavy hitters, and starting off, I got Kassai, who I'm putting above Teklovossen. Not a lot, but I'm putting her above because, gold, high C's helped with that. Making, Kassai a little bit better, and, there are just a couple of cards here and there that have just, like, Kassai, she's decent. She's not great, but she's decent. She has some tools that make her a solid deck, and she's, like, not a great deck, but she was kind of the OG pirate, in a sense, as DM Armada has said many times, and, like, Kassai's a really fun deck, and, like, a semi-strong deck, but it's kind of like Maxx in a sense, where her end game is just not as good as other decks, and I think because of that, she just doesn't really deserve to be any higher, because, I mean, she can do some dumb stuff, don't get me wrong, she can just saber, and, like, do a lot of things that are just really, like, good, but I still don't think that it pushes her up to, like, competitive tier, or higher in the casual tier, so, I don't know. I think that she deserves a spot right here, and I don't think she can really be any higher than that. But then, I got Kayo, and I like Kayo quite a bit. And I think Kayo deserves a place in, competitive tier, a little bit above Dio. Kayo's a really good deck in my mind, because, Blood Rush Bellow, that's a card that exists. he can output more damage than almost any other deck in the game if things line up properly. He's got a fridge of an equipment suite. Sure, he's only got one Mandible Claw, but, I mean, still not a bad thing. So it's just like, I think Kayo is a really strong deck in ways, but I don't think, he deserves to be higher in the competitive tier or higher in general because of the fact that he has a lot of no blocks like Dio. Not as many as Dio, but still quite a few no blocks, and it is high rolly, like all brutes. He's very high rolly. And because of that, I don't think he, deserves to be much higher. But because of the potential of what he can do and what I've seen him do from my dad, who, generally speaking, is not a very lucky person in these games, makes me afraid of the potential for the deck. So, because of that, good competitive deck. And he is a good competitive deck. But then I got Victor Goldmane. Victor Goldmane is a very, very fun deck, a very good deck, and in my opinion, the best Guardian in the game. He got some big support across a couple of sets you wouldn't expect him to get support from, like High Seas for sure, big support from High Seas because of all the gold stuff and the gold matters and the gold this and the gold that, and then Mastery Pack Guardian, the Mastery Packs Guardian series is pretty built around Valda, yes, but also Victor. Because there's quite a bit of Clash stuff, there's quite a bit of ways to, create some Seismic Surge tokens, which, quite honestly, in a Victor deck, that can be very aggressive. Sure, can be very defensive, but also very aggressive, I think makes Victor, get some random tools that are pretty good. Some expansion slot cards here and there. And I just feel like Victor Goldmane got some pretty good stuff going for him. And plus, he's a Guardian. Guardians can be very good defensive and, good, kind of drag out the game and play, a big crush effect that has some pretty good interaction stapled onto it. So, what Victor can do with very little in his hand makes him, in my opinion, a pretty solid, pretty competitive deck. But then I got the last two decks for heavy hitters, and man, they are downgrades. Betsy, which, wager tribal. It's just it's a worse Bravo, and Bravo's not an insane deck, and I just feel Betsy just doesn't do enough. She just doesn't. So she is a pet deck. And I don't think I've seen a single person on this entire planet play Betsy, so I don't even think she's a pet deck. I think she's just a tier below, an F tier. Kind of same thing with Olympia. Olympia, quite honestly, is just the worst deck in the game. Which is sad because he's a warrior, and I love warriors, but he just really, truly is the worst deck in the game. So there you go. But then I got Rosetta, and the first hero that I got from Rosetta is the best one, Florian. Florian is absolutely bonkers, nuts, insane. Florian is dumb. Quite honestly, just dumb. He does so much stuff. He defends. He's very defensive. He's got split damage. He's got an interaction. He's got the whole package, and then some. So Florian, there's no other place to put him except S tier. And maybe just the best deck in the entire game. Even though he got some bans going on with the, whatever it was, Germinate. Even though Germinate's gone, he still got so much of his tools. So I think there's no other place to put him except S tier. But then I got Verdance, who also deserves S tier. Verdance, I feel like could go either way. It could go Prism is better than Verdance, or Verdance is better than Prism. It's kind of flip-floppy. I personally think that Verdance is a little worse than Prism, just a point and half a point, a quarter of a point behind. But Prism is very good and very oppressive. And Verdance just is dumb. It's let's deal some arcane damage and gain some life, and some more life, and then some more life, and then some more life, and then some more life. Just gain a ton of life and deal damage that's really hard to mess with. Because arcane damage is fun. So Verdance, quite honestly, I think deserves S tier, just below Prism, because she's not as oppressively, like, interacty as Prism is. But then, I got the last Rosetta hero that's still legal, because Aurora's gone, Oscilio. And Oscilio, I think, is really cool. He's got, like, more going for him than you would think, than a lot of people think. I think he deserves A tier, which is starting to become the wizard tier. But still, I think that Oscilio is a solid deck. Not the best deck, but he's still a good deck because he can deal a lot of quick arcane damage, which is hard to mess with, hard to interact with. And I think because of that, he's just a lot better than a lot of people would think. But then I got Hunted, and Hunted brought us some very fun decks. Some very powerful decks, some very competitive decks. The first of those being Mario. I like Mary more. I like Mary because that's my nickname for Arakni Marionette, but still. Mario is a really dumb deck because, you know, assassins, interaction. And I would say Mario here is one of the best, if not the best. Maybe, like, I think Slippy's a little bit better, but still. Mario has more interaction, more ways to mess with the opponent than almost any other deck in the entire game's history, which is fun and amazing. So I think he, or they deserve a place near the top of competitive tier. I don't think Arakni, I don't think Mario is quite a top contender, but I think they're close. They're close. They're not quite there yet, but close. But then I got Slippy, which kind of like Ira, which I'll get to, getting just once a turn, just free go again, you know, it's stronger than people think. And because of that, and because Assassins, the main thing that makes Assassins, like, not the absolute best class in the entire game, is because of the fact that they can't go super wide, like something like a Ninja can. In addition to being able to go tall, like, I don't know, a Warrior, or a Bravo, or the Guardians, but like Bravo can. But still, I think because of the fact that a Slippy just allows you to have all the things that make Assassins broken, in addition to just say, hey, first thing with stealth, let's just give some go again. And then come out with two things with stealth, if we need to. Or just have the threat of it, and have cards back in the hand, and then the opponent just, you know, play some mind games with them. Ain't that fun? Plus, the deck's pretty cheap. So I think that because of that, all those, well, okay. You take out all of the absolute best assassin cards, and the deck's cheap. If you take out the Codex or Frailties and the Command and Conquers, and, like, the deck's not cheap. But it can be cheap and still fairly powerful. So, for those reasons, I think Slippy deserves the top of competitive tier. But then, I got Fang, the Conqueror, no. The Dragon Warrior, Poe, the Dragon Warrior. But Fang is a fun, powerful deck. He can do, like, a lot. He can storm off and just say, okay, dagger, 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 dagger. Just come in with daggers for free, multiple times a turn, for more damage than you would think. Make some fealty tokens, just pump them to the frickin' moon. Deal with some gravy stuff really easily. So, just, like, for all those reasons, I think that Fang deserves a good casual tier. A spot in casual tier. He's a good deck. He's not the best, but he's not the worst. And he might be, unfortunately, the best warrior in the game. Which, I prefer Dory. I prefer Boltyn. But the Dragon Warrior ain't bad either. But then I got Cindra. And Cindra is, out of all the hunted decks, the best one. Because Cindra is basically just a better Fi. Plus, you know, got a ton of, like, the set, all the ninja cards were built around her, not Fi. So all the things that Fi has, Cindra has, and then more. So because of that, even though Art of War is banned and gone, and that's sad for, a lot of decks, I still think that Cindra deserves a place above Oscilio in A tier, in top contender tier, in the top contender zone. So, yeah, I think that is fair. I think that is totally 100% fair for Cindra. But then I got Jarl, who I absolutely freaking despise. This guy is an absolute jerk of a deck. He hurts, gets rid of the compass of my boy Gravy Bones, and it's just like, he's not a nice guy. He makes frostbites, he gets rid of your equipment, your nice, wonderful pieces of equipment, and he's just, he wants to get rid of them. He wants to break them. He wants to make you all frostbitten, like his hand. It's not, but it looks like it. But still, Jarl Vertrady. Considering that he's an armory deck, I would say it's a pretty impressive hero. And he is a good competitive deck. He's not the best guardian in the game, which is crazy to me. Because he's got Oakenold, which is not even... I think he's got... he's got Oakenold. He's got a ton of things. Like, he might be above Victor, but because of the gold from High Seas, and because of the Armory, or the Mastery Pack Guardian series being a little bit better for Victor than it is for Jarl, I think Jarl is a tiny bit behind Victor. But still, Jarl, good deck. Good deck. And it makes me want to throw up on the inside. But then I got High Seas, the best set in all of Flesh and Blood. High Seas, I don't know what that was supposed to be. I am sorry for all of you listening. You should just... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that you had to hear that. But anyways, the first deck from High Seas, I got Gravy Bones, and I love Gravy Bones. I wish that he was in Best of the Best tier, but that realistically, there isn't enough evidence. There isn't enough ways for me to really say that he deserves that spot. He's a good deck, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's Best of the Best just yet. Maybe if he gets a little bit more support from a future set, like Dusk Till Dawn, Monarch Part 3, the Squeakle, the third one, Monarch the third, some more Necromancer stuff. Maybe he gets a little bit better, plus I get some support from my boy Boltyn, LSS, please, can that set come out soon? I think Gravy, at that point, would probably be Best of the Best. But until then, I think he is a top contender. Probably at the bottom of the top contenders, but still, considering the stupidity that he can do for as new as the deck is, I think, besides, Jarl destroying his compass, which is pretty important to him, even though he doesn't have a weapon, which I'm still kind of confused and pissed off about, but still. Gravy, good deck. It's a very good deck. It's terrible against daggers, but it's a good deck. But then I got Puffin. And Puffin's puffin good. Really puffin good. But Puffin is a really powerful, the most powerful of all the mechanologists in the entire game. But it's really hard to say where she lies because, sure, she can draw cards for free. Sure, she can make a pretty powerful piece of equipment that's really good and can allow you to draw cards for free. Draw a card for free off of her own effect. But I still don't know where exactly to place her. I don't think she's at the top of competitive. I definitely don't think she's a top contender. I don't know where she lies truly in competitive. I think she is probably realistically going to be a little bit better than Kayo, than Dio. Probably not as good because of the interaction that Jarl and Victor and all the decks in front of her have. So I think for that reason, I think Puffin lies about here in competitive tier. I think she will realistically lie, sit right about here when the deck is finally figured out, fully figured out. But I think this is where Puffin lies. I think she's about there as far as, good decks, whatever, some of the better decks in the game go. But anyways, Then I got a really cool looking deck. The Fisherwoman of Flesh and Blood, Marlynn, who is a competitive deck too. I think because of the fact that so many of Azalea's cards are just going to translate over to Marlynn, and Marlynn can in ways be an even better Azalea, I think just makes Marlynn a very competitive, potentially good deck. Is she the best of the High Seas decks? Absolutely not. She's the worst. But she, I think, is stronger than some people give her credit for. I think because of the fact that Rangers are just have so much interaction in their pocket, and the fact that there's just so many good cards for her with the Harpoons and High Seas, I just think that she is gonna be a good competitive deck. I think she's not gonna be the best competitive deck, but I still think she's a little bit above casual tier and at the very bottom of competitive tier. But then I got Ira. And Ira, like Slippy, just a free way to just say, hey, +1 power. Plus, I'm a ninja. And that's fair to give, free damage to me. For those reasons, basically all the reasons that Cindra is good, subtract the fact that Ira doesn't have, all the Draconic cards, but she does have an armory deck coming. She does have access to a lot of really powerful cards. Plus, she can come in with a Command and Conquer for 7. I think that Ira is a top contender. In the meta, I think Ira is 100% a top contender. But then lastly, I got the next deck that will be coming to Flesh and Blood, Valda. Is maybe a little bit, maybe is it not a good idea to rank Valda right now? Probably not, because this probably won't be 100% the fact of where she will lie. But I'm going to put her on this list anyways, and I'm going to rank her anyways. Valda, I think, at first, I'm like, oh, she's going to be at the bottom of pet deck. She's going to be a casual deck. But because of, all the cards that care... I mean, sure, Victor's getting upgrades from the Mastery class, from the Mastery Pack series, Guardian, whatever. Sure, Victor's getting some good stuff. But Valda, it's all built around Valda, pretty much, because of Seismic Surge tokens, because there's a ton of Crush cards, and Valda cares a lot more about Crush cards than Victor does. Victor cares about Clash, Valda cares about Crush. So for those reasons, I think of all the support that Valda's going to get, I think she's a good competitive deck. I think she'll probably be a couple of points ahead of Marlynn, maybe right below, but I think Valda, because of the fact that she can give Dominate, which is a really powerful effect, and she can make a ton of Seismic Surge. She's a Guardian, so she can interact. She's got some ways to basically just say, okay, opponent, discard your hand, draw a new set. That kind of stuff. I feel like for those reasons, Valda will be a solid competitive deck. With all aside, hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It's completely free on credits. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below if you think that this tier list is correct, if you think it is the 100% correct tier list for all the heroes in Flesh and Blood. Wink, wink, it probably isn't. But if you think that there are some cards that should be placed a little bit different, leave your comments down below, ranking all the heroes in Flesh and Blood in your opinion. And with all that aside, hope that you enjoyed this video, and see y'all next time.